Sports Talk 1080, the Team Orlando's Tuck and O'Neill. This is a football. This is a batted football. We're going to talk about that play from Monday Night Football. Your thoughts on what happened at the end of that football game Monday night?
About the batted football part of it, I knew the batted part should be a penalty because you see that all the time in a football game. I was surprised so many people were unaware of that. What I didn't know, though, is that it would give the ball back to the Detroit Lions. I was unaware because I've never seen that actually called in a football game before.
It gives it back to the team who had control last.
Which is the Detroit Lions.
At the spot, so it wouldn't automatically go to them had Seattle recovered on the one, and then it squirted away again. So it goes to the team who had possession last, and then from there it's a 10-yard penalty or first and goal, so it would put it at the 6-inch line. Is it a horrific mistake by that official?
No, it's a judgment call, and it is judgment. He ruled that the bat wasn't excessive, which you can do. You see it all the time on onside kicks where the ball gets tipped and the referee has to make a judgment call. Was it tipped purposefully out of bounds so as to result in a re-kick?
All right.
Or was it tapped?
You and I were watching. I saw it as it happened live. I have a position above the field and looking down at the end zone. The official on the back line has a perfect look at it. There seemed to be, immediately, I went, wow, he batted that out of bounds, right? Is that what you thought immediately?
Mm-hmm.
So why didn't he call it? I mean, it's not subjective. The guy was right in front of him and batted the football. Could it be, and I'm just asking to see if we can get into the head of that official, the realization that Detroit fumbled the ball into the end zone. The ball looks as though it may cartwheel out of the end zone. The only guy close to it is K.J. Wright, the linebacker who batted the football. Nobody's within 7 yards of him. Does that influence the official's call, do you think?
I don't think so. Not in that moment. I don't think
I do.
I don't think you can think that quickly on your feet to make that kind of a judgment.
So what is
now,
he
when
thinking?
they huddle up, I do think it might spring to mind at that point where you say, you know, the essence of the rule, the spirit of the rule is to prevent purposefully disallowing the other team to get the ball back. It clearly didn't do that because there was no Detroit Lion close to the ball.
Right.
So I don't necessarily feel
So that is
bad
what's going through his head.
No, I'm saying this conversation could have happened when the referees got together. That conversation could have happened at that point. I don't think that referee, that back judge,
Mike, if that's the case,
in the 1 second that he watched the play, had all that thought that I just said.
To me, honestly, and I'm not usually this radical in my opinions, if that crew got together and said, well, you know, he did bat the ball out of bounds, but, I mean, there wasn't a Detroit Lions player around here, you fire every one of those guys. And I'm not for that if the guy just made a mistake and said, well, you know, it was my opinion. Very late, it did go through my head that there was no Detroit player around, but I hold that to myself. If they got together and made a decision, well, we're not going to penalize Seattle for that, they got to be fired because that's outside the boundaries of the law. I also understand that that's not a reviewable play in the NFL. Should that be changed?
I don't think so.
I do.
I don't think it's necessary.
I
mean,
do.
We're talking about all this football, and we've never seen anything quite like that before. Plus, it gets into the idea of a judgment call. It is a judgment call, and you're not going to ask the review booth to make a judgment call. It's like reviewing pass interference.
It's not a judgment call. It's not a judgment call.
It's a judgment call, absolutely.
Let me finish.
It even reads that way.
It's a subjective call by the official who in the moment felt, but replay shows. Doesn't replay show the ball batted?
So you could say
doesn't
the ball
replay show the ball batted?
The ball gets batted a lot of times. That doesn't mean it's batted intentionally. There's a difference there. There's a discernible difference between intentionally batting the ball and accidentally batting the ball.
I got
absolutely,
him here.
no question.
I got him backed into a corner. Was the play last night all people who have talked, from Dean Blandino of the NFL office to former officials who work with networks in the capacity to talk about these, all conclude the ball was batted out of bounds, including the NFL, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the booth itself would have also seen that and have come to that same conclusion. That ball, that play, that type of play in the end zone like that should be reviewable. After all, it's a turnover. All turnovers are reviewed anyway. It's automatically reviewed.
The turnover part of it, there was nothing to be reviewed except for to see that Calvin Johnson's knee wasn't down.
No, it was a turnover.
No, that part of it was already reviewed. The turnover part of it, the aspect of was Calvin Johnson fumbling the ball or not, they reviewed that part, not the other part.
Well, then you have to its conclusion, review that. And I think you're going to see that changed for end zone plays going forward. We'll find that out. We talk football every day, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6. Sports Talk, 1080 The Team, Orlando. Don't bet this thing.